Hi everyone. So this week I was supposed to talk about PGD IVF and tell you a bit about what it actually is. But something really exciting has happened in the last week, and it's not the fact that I have Riley, who I'm sitting and who happens to be the sleepiest dog in the world. And it's also not the fact that I made the 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock BBC News this week on Monday. But it is to do with that. So a lot of people have been messaging me and I've got in touch knowing my connection to Huntington's disease or knowing that I work in it because they've heard about a new breakthrough in HD research. So I thought it would be really important to talk about that this week as it's all relevant. So here's a bit about what's going on. So what is all this hype about this breakthrough in Huntington's disease? So people might have seen in the BBC News, there's also pieces in the Guardian, and it's kind of, I've never really experienced so many people talking about Huntington's at one time in the general public. So it's a really exciting time. But what is it all about? In the last year or two, there's been a trial run by Ionis Pharmaceuticals. Used to be ISIS, and they changed their name recently. No one knows why. They finally announced the headline results of that trial on Monday, stating that they are happy with the safety and tolerability of the new drug. It's the first drug ever to really target the root cause of Huntington's disease itself. So I mentioned before, Huntington's disease is a genetic illness, and basically everybody has a Huntington gene, but in Huntington's disease patients or those who carry the mutation for it, they have a mutation that leads to a toxic form of the protein Huntington. And it's this toxic protein that we really think is doing all the damage and is the kind of underlying cause of all the symptoms of the disease and eventually the brain cell death. So we found out the gene in 93, or I say we, the scientists in HD scientists found it in 93, and it's taken that long. It's taken 23 to 4 years before there was a trial with a drug that specifically targeted the Huntington gene itself. And this started, it's being led by Sarah Tabrizi, my all-time lady boss. Some of you know may have heard of her before because I frequently talk about her and how I want to be here. Now the world can see why. She was on the news on Monday as well. Check her out. She's the chief investigator or the lead for the study. It's what we call in clinical trial research a 1/2A. You might see that in some of the documents. Phase trial, a 1/2A phase trial. That just means it was phase 1 is all about safety and tolerability of the drug itself and making sure it's not doing anything else that it shouldn't be. Not looking at efficacy or how well the drug is working to help symptoms of Huntington's disease at all. And it wasn't designed to do so. And the 2A was meaning that they were looking at some additional things that might tell us that the drug's working, and that was primarily whether the drug could actually lower the mutant Huntington protein. So what's the drug? It's what's called an ASO, an antisense oligonucleotide. Much easier to say ASO. It's a bit of artificial DNA. So scientists were able to chemically modify DNA to make it stick to a specific area, a message molecule that they want. And in this case, it's the message of the Huntington gene that is used to make the Huntington protein. So what the drug does, it binds to this message, causing it to be degraded or destroyed, which means a reduction in the amount of the actual protein that's produced. Quite a novel way to target a disease, but very exciting. And why the results have been so exciting is because it's giving a real life indication that you can actually do this. This has all been in theory for years before this, that we could lower the mutant Huntington protein by targeting the gene itself, but this is real life proof that it does indeed lower the mutant Huntington protein in patients. What we don't know is, will this actually help Huntington's disease patients and the symptoms. That's going to be the next trial, so we have to be cautious when we're talking about breakthroughs and stuff. Yes, it's really big, but it's not a cure yet. It's going to be a few years before we know that it does work or it does not work to help slow Huntington's disease symptoms or stop them. It'll take at least 2 to 3 years before that trial is kind of ongoing and they're getting results for that. So this is really exciting and really cool that all these theories that scientists have worked on for over 20 years are really starting to work in real life and have a real hope of actually for Huntington's disease patients to benefit from. But it's not a cure yet. It's not going to be an easy form of treatment. So this type of drug, it can't be digested. It would be you can't take it as a pill. You couldn't inject it into the blood because we need to get it into the brain. So what they do is inject it into the lumbar region of the back. So it's called intrathecal injection. So not a nice procedure at all, and it could end up, if this therapy works, people that carry that mutation of Huntington's disease would have to go through therapeutic injections of this drug multiple times a year, if not more, through their whole life for it to slow down the symptoms. Potentially they could take it before they even have symptoms, and if it really does slow the disease down or stop it, then they might never get Huntington's, which is the dream. But it's still not a fun way to live your life, having to go to the hospital and get intrathecal injections every few months. Which is why I still think PGD IVF is super important, which I will continue to tell you about through my videos. But I really thought it was important to address what is going on this week about Huntington's disease. I want to thank everyone again who's donated money. A lot of generous donations. We're nearly at £400 already. I've got one fundraising event organised. I'm going to do a Facebook event and tell people about it at another time. So thank you very much, and keep watching, keep sharing, subscribe, and tell anyone you know about it. So I also forgot to mention a couple important things. So I'm coming back to it now. So I'm not involved in the trial at all. So if you're a HD family member or patient, I'm not the person to get in touch with. And I'm not involved with the running or setting up of the next phase. There's a lot of good links which I'll put in below the video about some interviews in the news, as well as on iPlayer, the BBC, and some online documents on the Guardian and BBC News. So check them out. Thanks. Okay, so just ran over 6 miles this week, and as we say in Belfast, it's bloody Baltic. But no one said that training for a marathon would be easy. So see you next week.